By the way, huge shouts out to Dakota, our artist, for putting this together. Amazing, 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 amazing work. Huge shouts out to him. One of the hardest working kids out there. Everybody, welcome to an all-new episode of Marvel Cinematic Review. We are the MCR of the MCU. And yes, Kevin Feige did give us the stamp of approval. So we are the voice of the MCU, in case anybody out there was wondering.
So many questions I have leading into this discussion tonight. So,
kind of like we talk about all the questions. Like I said, when I finished watching WandaVision, I just started typing out stuff because there's a whole lot going on here. I have not a clue what's going on. Kinds of theories out there, including, of course, eventually we're going to get the X-Men and the mutants. So, I mean, you could get Magneto somewhere involved in that. I'm probably the worst person to ask about this. But obviously it's not Pietro because here he came out. But I don't know. Actually, I'm here to learn from you folks. So hopefully somebody has some better theories than I have, because I have none.
I've got... Oh, God. I had 4. I'm trying to break it down to 2.
Okay.
So, selfishly, I want Deadpool. I just want Deadpool. Just for at the end of the series, if, like we've talked about in weeks past, it goes to black and she says mutants. And you hear Deadpool go, "What the shit biscuits?" Like that. That's what I want to hear, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, is this where Hugh Jackman comes in? I mean, like, so if you're talking, like, if Elizabeth Olsen is trying to compare this to the Luke Skywalker reveal in The Mandalorian, it's got to be the guy that started the franchise, i.e., Hugh Jackman of the X-Men, if that's the direction, obviously, with this past episode, they are going, right? I mean, like, I don't think that's too far-fetched. And especially, and Hugh Jackman has been on record. He will not come back as Wolverine unless he's going to be an Avenger, which with Phase 5 and everything that's going to be rolling down the pipe, I think that's, like, in my head, that's a feasible scenario.
A lot of people have said Michael Fassbender. I'm saying you're not off, but you have the wrong Magneto. Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
He's the guy that would make jaws drop, because a lot of people are already Michael Fassbender, of course. It's the more recent one. It's as far as relevancy, not acting wise, but relevancy, it's the bigger name of the two. People know Michael Fassbender more than they know Ian McKellen. It would be the guy that, you would go after Michael Fassbender. I say no. I don't like the multiverse because you can have your cake and eat it too. You can bring in Ian McKellen to kind of give a nod to like the OG X-Men, and then just cast your actual new Magneto down the line when you introduce the actual X-Men. Evan, that's what I'm saying. Evan Peters popping up here doesn't mean he'll be Quicksilver when they drop the X-Men movie 4 or 5 years from now.
Right.
It's the nod. So that's why I say I don't like this stuff, because it gets people going, well, clearly that's your Quicksilver for like the next decade. No,
but I don't even think that he's Quicksilver, really. But we can get into that later.
We'll get into that later, because I tell you the tinfoil hat was firmly on my head. Who do you think will appear that will rival Luke Skywalker?
Well, first of all, I wanted to comment that it definitely can't be Evan Peters as Pietro, because we knew Evan Peters was going to come in. Like, that was on, in the news and everything. Evan Peters is going to come in. I feel like part of us kind of felt like, oh, well, is he going to play someone else, or are they going to have him play the character he played in the Fox Marvel movie? So I'm hoping that that's not the big reveal that Elizabeth Olsen was talking about, because if so, that doesn't live up at all.
To you next, man. What would drop your jaw?
So initially, my thought was maybe Kang would expose himself as being like one of the next possible big bads. But I was thinking, and during the episode, like when they showed her taking Vision's corpse, right? And I was like, what are they doing with them? Like they have them all taken apart, and we know that the W in Sword stands for weapon now instead of worlds. And I can't, and I'm gonna give my credit because the thought was I was wondering, and then it went away. Then there's a guy named Moose_0 on TikTok, and he's like a comic guy, and he had a very good theory that went along with my thought, and his was that Vision is at some point going to escape the Hex, but if he does, he becomes a corpse again. Then Sword would try to repair him to be able to send him back in to help stop Wanda. But when they repair him, he returns to his factory settings of Ultron. So then we get Ultron coming back to do what he does. And so that was as my thought into his theory. And I was like, you know what? That would be something that would be very shocking.
Well, and I think to that point, and first off, I want to thank for the invitation. I'm excited to be here tonight. So it's good to see everybody. I don't think that the way they set up that season of The Mandalorian, we were expecting that surprise, right? So I think it adds to, that jaw-dropping moment. Whereas, we're talking about this massive thing happening in episode 5 of WandaVision, right? So everybody's already postulating who's it going to be, so I don't think we're ever going to, just by that alone, we're not going to be as surprised, right, when it happens. I think to simply answer your question, and you already did, Ian McKellen is, when you ask that question, that's who I'm thinking, right? As soon as I saw Evan, I thought that would be awesome to bring him in, and not necessarily, I felt like Evan Peters was an announcement and a confirmation that Fox IP is now Disney IP, right? And we've expanded our playground. So I think, pulling characters in from that universe is just going to add to that. And I don't think that, because I understand where you're coming from, Patrick, that, you don't want him to be the fixture or necessarily the Magneto going forward, but I don't think that he has to be. That he can still make a presence, do something, and they can continue the story. But
I have no idea, man. I was thinking you guys have named. We were talking about Ian McKellen. We talked about. I don't know if you guys mentioned before I came on. Patrick Stewart. I don't know how they would do Patrick Stewart being at the events that happened in Wolverine, but do we really know that it's really that big? I mean, she says that it's a big deal, right? But is it really a big deal to all of us? The way that she's making it, could it just be somebody who it's not going to blow anybody's socks off the way it's being blown up, right? Mm-hmm. So outside of everybody that's been named, I've got probably like lesser names. I heard you mention the Tobey Maguire thing, right? All right. What about this? And of course, this is not going to blow anybody's socks off, but Juwan, from, I guess, a podcast that I did with you a while back. One of a villain that we're going to get anyway in another movie, but we may possibly get them a little early. And what if it's William Dafoe? What's the Green Goblin? I mean, if we're putting it out there, we're rumored we're going to get him, in the Spider-Man movie anyway, right? Supposedly, he's been sitting around the set and so on and so forth. To me, I think he's vastly underrated when we talk about these Marvel villains or him playing that character. Nobody talks about him. And I thought he was like hands down the perfect choice. So outside of a lot of the obvious names that's been thrown around, we come down a level, maybe not blowing everybody's socks off. But I mean, when was he in that movie? Was it 2001?
Yeah, 2002.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
2002, I think it was. Or that might have been, yeah.
Yeah. What were you, like 9? I mean, my God.
No, exactly. I was.
We think about Luke. I mean, the first Star Wars was 77, and then we went into there was a time period before. I mean, outside of what we got to see in the later movies, but still, that you didn't expect to see him come back. So if we're coming down a little bit and getting away from the obvious, I'm gonna throw my man William Dafoe out there as a Green Goblin.